But by far, the craziest thing that happened to me this week.
Oh my God, it's not over.
It's not over, dude. I've listed off, so far I've listed not one, not two, not three, but four terrible turn of events. I lost $2,400 in the unemployment market. I was stung by a bee. I got ghosted by a chick that I really thought I had a chance with. And I found out that I accidentally gave our podcast 4 stars on iTunes.
Oh
and
my God.
yet, it's not even close to the craziest thing that happened this week. Because this week, after my shift on Friday night, I was walking back from my car after my shift, walking back to my apartment, and as anyone who knows me knows, I always have to park many blocks from my
You
apartment.
gotta park like far as shit away.
Far as shit away. And so on the trek back to my apartment, I get a text from your brother saying, "Hey, me, Dan, and Marissa, and Zach are drinking on my balcony." And I was like, "Cool, I'll swing through." So instead of going to I went up to my apartment. I grabbed one Bud Light out of my fridge and just went down, walked across the street with the Bud Light. And on the way there, I stopped at Skyline Liquor and U-Haul Rental Emporium to buy a 6-pack of Corona Lights. I didn't have... Now, it's important at this... I get the Corona Lights.
Yeah, you walked in there with a Bud Light. Why?
I left it on the porch.
Okay, cool.
I left it. There was a cup of coffee sitting there, so I just put it right next to there. I was like, I guess this is where we put our drinks.
Yeah.
Some homeless guy's cup of coffee and my third drank beer. So then I go in, I purchase my Corona Lights. I run into Sarah Coughlin. I said I was going to Alex Glazer's house. She was like, "Oh my God, I miss Alex and I love Eric and blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Yep, Eric's not there, but I'm going there anyway." And so I walk up to his apartment building. And from my delivery experience, I know for a fact, because it says right on the doors, that you are supposed to wear a mask when entering the building. Now, I have a mask that I keep in my car for deliveries. And my normal experience as being a person who drives to sometimes up to 50 or 40 different houses a day between buildings and hospitals and apartments and all kinds of shit, I use the mask when I enter nursing homes. I use the mask when I enter most apartment buildings.
Do you reuse the same mask?
Yeah. I just have one mask, but I wear it very rarely. I only wear it for very specific occasions. Like I said, like entering a large building, a hospital,
and then
a
you
nursing
let
home.
it just sit on your dash and let it self.
Not just my dash, my
clean.
Oh my God,
from the
dude!
sun.
Oh my God! I just thought of another thing that happened this week that I'll tell you after this. Jesus Christ! So anyway, but this is by far the worst. So I keep it on my passenger seat, which no one has sat in years, so it doesn't matter. And
that might have been the last one.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
I walk up to
kerosene.
the apartment, and because I've taken several deliveries over the course of a week to Alex's apartment, I know that you're supposed to have a mask on. I did not have a mask at the time, so I did what any self-respecting American would do. I just threw my shirt over my face while I walked through the lobby. Important to note that the concierge, the front desk guy, wasn't wearing a mask when I walked in.
Okay,
so it's
perfect.
like, who cares? So I walk in, he's not wearing a mask. I got my shirt over my face like a fucking asshole, and I was like, I'm going to see Alex. He recognized me. He's like, all right, cool, man. So I walk up to the elevator. I got my 6-pack in my hand. I got my half-drank beer in the other hand that I brought from my apartment, and I throw my shirt down, and I'm just drinking my beer waiting for the elevator. Elevator opens. There's a guy inside it coming up from the garage. Elevator opens. I say, "Hey, what's up, dude?" I walk in. I stand there. I press the button to go up to the floor. And he stops and he goes, "Wait, you're not wearing a mask? Asshole." And I was like, "What?" And then he steps outside the elevator and was like, "Yeah, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, I didn't know how to respond. So I was like, "All right, I can put my shirt over my, I'm sorry, dude. Sorry about that." And he was like, nah. And so I was like, "All right, man, I'm just going to go up then. I don't know what to tell you." And so I press the floor. He presses the button on the elevator to make the door open again so he doesn't let me go up. And he's like, "Nah, come on, tough guy. You want to fucking go? You got a fucking problem?" Like, blah, blah, blah. I was like, "Dude, I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I don't have a mask. I don't know what to tell you. I have my shirt over my face. I can do that if you want. If you want to take the elevator, you can take it. I'll wait. So whatever. And he's like, nah, man, you fuck blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what, dude, whatever. So I get off the elevator. I was like, get on. Just get on. Go. And he's like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what, dude, just have a nice night. Just have a nice night. And he goes up, and then I wait, and I actually stood in the apartment lobby stewing for like 5 minutes before I realized I could just get on the other elevator. And I just get on the other elevator, and I walk up, and it was a really, really weird experience. Because it doesn't logically make sense that you're concerned about the public health and safety of yourself and me, ostensibly, when you're concerned about the mask situation. So your solution to me not wearing a mask is to beat my ass.
Yeah,
it's kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, to get my germs on you.
I'm pretty sure the only thing worse than us breathing the same air in an elevator for 15 seconds is one of us getting a concussion. But, that's just a differing sense of opinion there.
And you even gave the option for him to take it.
Yeah, I was first I said I'll throw my shirt over my face, which is just as good as any other mask. Most people don't have the regular mask. They just have a fucking bandana around their face or scarf or something. It's like, if I put my shirt over my face
with rubber bands on it or
it's like, dude, like I'm doing just as much as is asked. I can throw my shirt over my face if it's that big of a deal. It's just it was a weird situation because I started off in the wrong, obviously. You're supposed to be wearing a mask. Also, again, there's important to note, like I said before, going around and driving around places all day, my personal experience has been that most people have been very lax about that. Like I said, I throw on masks when I go into places where people are high risk. Nursing homes, hospitals, most apartment buildings, when I have the mask, if I'm actually on my shift, I wear it. But when I walk up to people's houses for deliveries and I knock on their door, they come to the door, they're not wearing a mask. 9 times out of 10, they're not wearing a mask.
I'm not wearing a mask. They're in their house.
Yeah, but they're coming to the door to interact with somebody just like I'm coming to their door to interact with them. It's like they know I'm coming. They know I'm coming. So like they don't put their mask on. No one's ever said anything to me about it. And people walk into Seasons a lot. Some of them have masks. Some of them don't. I get on my elevator in my building. I was on the elevator yesterday, 3 people in there, not a single person wearing a mask. The culture is different, is all I'm saying. It's a tale of 2 buildings right now. In my building across the street, exists in a building where we're pretty chill about it. Nobody's getting in fist fights in the fucking elevator because somebody's not wearing a mask.
It is a lot of younger people, though. I feel like there are a lot of older people in my brother's building.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's why on my shifts, I always do have a mask. But in this particular situation, I wasn't planning on walking over there. I was planning on walking home. I got a text to come over. And so I said, fuck it. I'll just go over and see Alex. I had been into his apartment countless times before visiting him. It didn't seem like a big deal. And like I said, the fucking guy at the desk wasn't wearing a mask. So like, how seriously are they really taking that rule? Alex said they just posted that sign like a couple of days ago. Like it was a new thing. So like, again, this isn't me making excuses and saying that I was somehow in the right. I'm just trying to set the context here of saying like, this is the reality. Yeah. And so it's a weird situation because it starts off where I'm in the wrong. But then immediately when you open up the conversation by calling me an asshole and challenging me to a fight, now you're in the wrong. Like you're undeniably the asshole in this situation. Like, yeah, I'm not wearing a mask in the elevator. I'm in the wrong. But then you like tripled down and were like, I'm now going to be a complete fucking maniac and challenge this guy to a fucking fight because I'm not wearing a mask. It's like, there's so many other ways to go about that. Like, myself personally, I tend to lean towards sarcasm because I think humor is a very effective way of getting a point across, as we've discussed in the past. Like, if I really was passionate about somebody wearing a mask and I really wanted to get that point across, I probably would have walked in the elevator and just been like, oh, not wearing a mask. Looks like we're all dying tonight, boys, or something like that. Something to like get the point across, but still keep it light. Let him know that I would prefer if he was wearing a mask. Or if you really wanted to be a crusader about it, just say, I'm sorry, dude, I'm just going to wait for the next elevator.
Yeah.
If that was there's so many different roads you could have taken besides the let me try to beat this guy's ass in the apartment. And my brother was like, you should have fucking beaten that guy. He sounds like a fucking douchebag. Like, you didn't fucking want to beat his ass. I was like, obviously, I want to beat his ass. Obviously, fuck that guy. But what's going to be my
you can't ever visit Alex again.
Yeah, that. And what's going to be my story? When somebody asks, oh, what happened? Oh, yeah, I walked into a building with signs posted to say wear a mask. I didn't happen to have a mask. So then a guy called me out on it, and I beat his ass. That's not a good
Yeah.
story to tell. People were like, oh, Jesus.
Damn.
So instead, I played it off like I usually do in those situations. And because he decided to be so far in the other direction, I somehow walked away from that situation, having started off being wrong, as being like the victim. Like, he threatened to fucking beat my ass, dude. That's
Yeah.
that's not called for. That's not appropriate. That's not an appropriate response to the situation. Like, you are that fucking, like, we've talked about the whole social distance Nazis before, but that was a real live social distance Nazi, bro. He had like cargo shorts and a leather jacket and like a fucking tattoo on his calf that looked like something. I think he had a tattoo of a mask on his calf, dude. He was fucking, like, he was about
Sinister.
it, dude. He was about it. And like, I was like, bro, I get it. And I know everybody's taking this to their own varying degrees of seriousness. And I know that I probably don't take it as seriously as you, but at the same time, I still take measures, and I'm still out there on the fucking front lines of society, working my job and taking precautions when I think it's necessary. And again, you could disagree with me on whether or not that is the appropriate measure, but the way you handle it and the way you're being about it, it just immediately stuck me. It's like, wow, that is like some fucking brainwash level, like psychomaniacal shit. And I know that's a very rare thing, but it just like we like I said, we talked about before with like how all of a sudden rules get changed, and then people all of a sudden are reporting people to the police for being out in the park and stuff like that. And it's like, you see how quickly we get into this kind of like Karen state where everybody's a fucking mom now. Like, I mean, it's like, dude, come on, bro. Like, it's a fucking Friday night, 10:30 p.m. I wasn't expecting anybody to be in the elevator. I can throw my shirt over my face if you'd like, if it would make you feel more comfortable. I immediately offered to get off the elevator. It just was wild. It just was wild, and it stuck with me. And I was just stewing over it while I was hanging out with Alex. It didn't bother me that much, and I'm appreciative that he was that much of an asshole about it. Because if he was less of an asshole about it, and this is what people don't get when you're in a confrontation like that, the most effective way that you can really get to somebody is by never leaving yourself hanging out to dry as the bad guy. If you get into like a road rage type of thing where somebody starts honking at you and shit like that, as we've talked about before as well, a middle finger is not going to piss them off nearly as much as a fucking thumbs up or an okay sign and a smile or a laugh. Just to basically take all their anger and just look at them in the eyes and go, come on, dude, you're being fucking ridiculous. That really pisses people off, because that gets the point across, because then they have to sit there and reflect and like, damn, I just had like a fucking temper tantrum and a guy just looked at me like I was a little kid and just fucking played it off and was just like, you're being a fucking baby. You're being a little bitch right now. He didn't engage it. He didn't join me. He didn't, feed into it or anything like that, because that's what they want. They want you to feed into it. So in that situation, it's like, I got to walk away with that without feeling as bad as I would have felt if he literally was just in the elevator and was like, you know what, man, like, I think it's really disrespectful that you're not taking this mask thing seriously, and there's a lot of old people in this building, and I'm hopping off the elevator, and I just wish next time you enter, you should wear a mask because it's important to me and it's important to a lot of people. That would have made me feel like shit. That would have made me feel absolutely awful, and he would have been right.
The point across.
That would have gotten the point across. What he did was allow me to walk away feeling, just going, what a fucking douchebag. And luckily enough for him, I'm the type of person that will reflect upon those things and will take those things to heart and is still thinking about it days later. I'm not ever the type of person to sit there and go, whenever I get into an altercation or a disagreement, to just be like, fuck that guy, he's a fucking asshole, I'm not doing it. Like, those type of people that just always they never want to question whether or not they're in the right. They always just say, if there's a problem, it's somebody else's fault. I'm not that type of person. So I will, even when you're that much of a douchebag, still take the lesson to heart. But most people, first of all, given that he was like 5'10" or something like that, most people would have just beaten his ass. I feel like a bigger dude in that situation, just being called out like that and then trying to go up, and then the guy stops the elevator and fucking doesn't allow you to go up and then tells you to come outside, tough guy. That's a fighting situation for a lot of dudes. I know a lot of dudes that would have fucking lost it. You think Lucas Mosca would have fucking let that happen? No.
Also, it's a weird situation too, because you were there without a mask, 6-pack of beer, and one already cracked open, and he's looking at you, asking you to fight. So that's like, I don't know. It's like a combination of probably that guy has like anger issues, but also he's probably going crazy in quarantine, like, and he's just lashing out.
Yeah, I thought about that too. And I thought about, like, you know, maybe that's just his crusade, and maybe it didn't even cross his mind whether or not he was worried about getting his ass beat. Like, he just thought that was his cause, and that was what he was going to stand up for, and he was just going to fucking lay himself out on the line like that, which I can respect. But again, it's not the way to go about it. It's not the way to go about it, and it's embarrassing for you. I will walk away from that situation thinking differently, and I will wear a mask next time I enter the building, as I usually do. As I said before, I usually do. I just didn't happen to have it on me at that moment. Forgive me if, you know, I've lived 27 years without ever having to think about it, and then all of a sudden it's become an instantaneous, immediate part of life where I might forget it from time to time. And I think that's a lot of people. And I don't think it makes them bad. As long as you're trying, and as long as you acknowledge when you're wrong. And that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm wrong. Lucky for me, that guy was fucking wronger. So fuck that guy.
Dude, I can't believe there's still one more thing that happened.
Yeah, me neither. Me fucking neither.